We will pay homage to the Buddha by reciting Namo Tassa 3 times. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. Namo Tassa Bhagavato Arahato Samma Sambuddhassa. So now we have to continue talking about Kasina. So last week we have already explained many things about Kasinas, but today we have to explain how we use the Kasina in the practice. As I have explained before, it can be the foundations of Vipassana, entering jhana, emerging from the jhana, descend jhana dhammas and their causes. We can contemplate that as anicca, dukkha, anatta. This is the one thing. So now, for our sacred power, we have different usage of Kasina. For the use of the first one is of Kasina. So the Kasina can be the basis for such power of multiplying bodies, standing on the space or on the water, standing on the space or on the water, or sitting on the space or on the water. So this is called sacred power. We can also say Itivida Vinyana, supernatural power. So you may have seen or you may have read many books. You may have seen many pictures. You may have read many books about sacred power. For example, the Buddha himself walking on the water, also flying on the sky, like Venerable Mahamoggallana. He may sit on the space, walking on the space, standing on the space like that. So all these things come from all the Kasina. So actually later when we talk about Vinyana, sacred power, we have to explain 14 ways of training mind. But now this is just how to use Kasina, right? Not full versions of practicing. But anyway, if we know the use of all the Kasina, this is good enough for today. So, two, the water Kasina can be basis for such a powers as causing rains, storms, creating sea, river, water under the rocks, and so on. So not only that, actually, when we can practice with masteries, we can practice water Kasinas, attaining attainments. Also, when we can practice masteries and 14 ways of training mind, we can also practice for sacred power. So you may have known the Venerable Sariputta, the Venerable Mahamoggallana, although can shake, can Saka's mentions. In this case, we can understand that he just enter into the water Kasina, and he just create water under the mentions, the Saka's mentions, then he can shake it with his toe, this is very easy for him. So similar things can apply. For example, from time to time, the Buddha also has to display numerical powers. Right? One eye will be water, one eye will be fire. So in this case, the water will enter into water Kasina, then water will flow from his eyes, then he will enter into fire Kasina, then fire will come out from his eyes. This is the way he enter into Kasinas. So three, the fire Kasinas. So the fire Kasina can be basis for such as power as smoking, flaming, showers of sparks, countering fire with the fire. Then ability to burn only what one wants to burn, causing light for the purpose of seeing visible objects with the divine eyes, burning up the body by means of fire elements at the time of attaining Nibbana. So here, okay, you may have read many stories about the Buddha. For example, we have Akidatta, one of the ascetics. The Buddha visited his place. Then Actually, they don't have any spare house or spare living place. That's why they have to allow the Buddha to spend overnight in the kitchen, where a serpent or a dragon live. So at night, the Naga, the serpent, send the smokes to the Buddha, just emitting smoke, blowing the smoke from his mouth. The Buddha also countering smoke with the smoke. Then he also sends fire to the Buddha. Then the Buddha also use counter fire. Then you may have read this kind of story. Because the Buddha have more powerful, Buddha has a stronger power, that's why he can send more fire than the serpents. This is the one thing we have to know when we read the story. You can understand that one, right? Because of fire kasinas, masteries, the Buddha can do like this. Not only that, Venerable Mahamoggallana also do the same. In the case of architect, actually, it's Venerable Mahamoggallana, not the Buddha. Venerable Mahamoggallana visited there, then they say, as I mentioned before, the Naga image, send the smokes. Venerable Ananda also counter smoke with the smoke, fire with the fire, like that. So again, ability to burn what we want to burn, causing light, for example, this one. But sometimes, even the Buddha had to display this kind of power. Sometimes the woods, fire woods, are wet, and they are not easy to burn. But by using psychic power, the Buddha can burn everything. So sometimes we can also choose objects to burn, right? It depends on the skill or the mastery we practiced. Then not only that, the purpose of seeing the light with the divine eyes. So sometimes when we can see divine beings, we have to use the light, sending the light to the divine beings we can see. When a very bright light is possible to see the divine beings. So when we are going to practice divine eyes, psychic power, now we have to use the fire kasinas. Then we have one thing about burning up the body by means of fire elements at the time of attaining Nibbana. I think you have known that Venerable Ananda, when he passed away, he ended up pre-Nibbana in the sky. By using divine powers, he burned his body on the sky. He also shared his relics into two places. Actually, it was on the sky above the river. He just entered into fire elements, burned everything, just share his relics into two different countries. So this is the use of fire kasinas. I think you have known all the story. Then 4, air kasina or wind kasina. So air kasina is the basis for such power as going with the speeds of the wind, causing the wind storms. So this is really very simple. Sometimes they have to go very speedy, very high in high speeds. Then we can use air kasina, psychic power. So sometimes, like a wind or storms, then we have to use the wind kasina. This one is a little bit simple than black kasina. In the black kasina 5, right? 5 black kasinas. Black kasina is the basis for such power as creating black forms, causing darkness. I have to explain this part first. So sometimes we have to live inside the light. You may have known one of the Mahathera. he's not very, I think not in this Buddha times, maybe previous Buddha's times. So people disrespect him. That's why he made all the world dark by entering into black casinos. No? He made everything dark. In the dark room, people scare. Other than he create the light in it, he can give Dhamma Talk. So by using light casino, or can be with white casino also. Anyway, then we can also create the black forms. Also, we can also make darkness. And not only that, acquisition of business or mastery by method of fairness and ugliness. So here in this case, we have to, actually this one is, we call the Supanimitta. Sorry, this one is a fine. Okay, fine. This one is not called, we're going to case Supanimitta, sorry. In this case, we just make it like the good and bad, right? Fairness and ugliness, masteries. This also bind the power of psychic power or bind the power of jhana. You know? So okay, that means we may have like a good kasinas or maybe bad kasinas. It depends. So that means we can also make it dark, but totally dark. We can also make it little bit dark, something like that. The attainment of liberation by beautiful. That means okay, we call Supan Vimutta. So people say abhipayana, you know, the fairness, for example, the mastery by the method of fairness and ugliness, this is called abhipayana, you know. Also, you cannot the jhanas. Or you can also say attainments. Attainment of the liberation by beautiful, this is called Subha Vimutta. We have this kind of things. Okay, anyway, you have to remember this too. The mastery by the method of fairness and ugliness. That's called abhipayana. Another one is attainment of liberations by beautiful. That one is called Subha Vimutta. So this one will be included in every casino. So every color casino, you know, every color casino they will use this one. Okay, now again, 6. We have to continue 6. 6 is yellow casino. This is the basis for such powers as creating yellow forms, let me visible object, right? Solving that sentence shall be gold. We can create gold. You may have known one of the Mahatera. He creates golden ornaments for one young girl. We have to learn this one in. Okay, we can learn this one in Vinaya. Anyway, so when we are going to create gold, we can use yellow casinas. The acquisition of the business of mastery in the way stated. Okay, that means, as I mentioned before, is referred to Vibharana and Subhanimitta. The business of mastery by the method of fairness and ugliness, and attainment of liberations by the beautiful. It mentioned the one, right? Then again, it also mentioned that sorry. Also mentioned the same, right? Acquisition of business of mastery by way as stated, attainment of liberation by the beautiful. Okay, again now we have another one, Rakasina 7. Rakasina can be business for such power as creating red forms. That means red color objects. Any objects that we have red color. Then also acquisitions of the basis as stated, the way that's stated, because an attainment of the liberation by the beautiful, it will be the same. So now 8, we go to 8. The white casino is the basis for such power as creating white forms, banish stiffness and torpors, dispelling darkness, causing the light for the purpose of seeing the visible object with the divine eyes. White casino is really, really very powerful for this. So let me creating white colors, any of visible objects. Banish stiffness and torpor, because they say overcoming sloth and torpor. You may remember Venerable Mahamoggallana. He was learning, he was meditating in Susumara Gira. At the time, he was drowsy. Then Buddha visited there and also gave instructions to overcome drowsiness. The Buddha explained many methods to him. One of them is using the light kasinas, expanding the light to overcome darkness, to overcome sloth and troubles. So when we can see the light very bright, then we cannot sleep well. We can overcome drowsiness. This is also one of the methods to overcome drowsiness. Then again, dispelling darkness. So as you have known that we may have, previously with dark kasinas, black kasina, they can create darkness, but with the white kasina, we can create light there again. So not only that, causing the light for the purpose of seeing visible objects with divine eyes is also one of the way. So you remember the one in the fire kasina? The fire kasina also very bright, then they can create the light, or we can also use the light of fire kasinas to see divine beings or divine objects. Now in white kasina again, by using white kasina light, very bright light, or light kasina, expanding that, we can also see the divine beings or divine forms. This is the next one, right? Okay, 9, the light kasina. So the light kasina is the basis for such powers as creating luminous forms, very bright forms, right? Banishing stiffness and torpor, dispelling darkness, causing light for the purpose of seeing visible objects for the divine eyes. So they were similar to white kasina. But here one more thing, they're creating luminous forms, very bright, right? So as we have mentioned before, in the white kasina, we have very bright lights, and we can also see divine beings using the light. Also, we can also overcome sloth and trouble by using the lights of white kasinas. Now also, let's say, light kasina. So these two are a little bit similar. That is why sometimes when we talk about 38 meditation subjects, when you go and read in the text, sometimes they mention 38 subjects, not 40 meditation subjects. At the time, light kasina and white kasina are similar. That's why they become one. Now you can see the use of light kasina and the use of white kasina are very similar, right? Almost the same. Okay, now 10. The last one among the 10 kasinas. The space kasinas is the basis for such a power as revealing the hidden, maintaining the posture inside the earth, or rocks, anchored inside down, traveling unobstructed through the walls and so on. So you may have learned many different things about psychic power, or you may have known many stories about psychic power. So here, revealing and hiding. So that means by using this space kasina, we can also reveal the hiding one. Also maintain posture inside the earth. For example, dive into the earth, for example. In this case, the meditator must enter the space kasina in order that he may make space on the earth, or he may dive into the earth. So like walking under the earth, also the same, creating space. Then he can walk under the earth. Similarly, under the water, walking under the water. By entering space kasina, he creates space under the water. He can do walking there. Then again, we also have like traveling and obstructed through the walls, for example, right? This is also the same. Before we go into the wall, then we have to enter into the space kasina make a space or hole there, then go into it, then we can go through the wall. That's the use of space kasinas. So in brief, we can use all the kasina for second power. It depends on our situations. So many times, even last Dhamma talk, they also ask, what about blue kasina or other colors, right? So when we are going to create something, so for example, multiplying body, we made different color, right? It's just all kasina. We don't need to think about color. So similarly, multiplying many trees, the same it will be only all kasina. We don't need to think about color. So now the use of black kasina, you have already know, right? Black kasina. So now we have already know the use of kasinas, right? That's why we may have different colors, different usage. So that's why the Buddha just say only 10 kasinas, only necessary things. So we don't need many other color. That's why we don't have any other color kasinas. Okay, now we have to proceed. The next part as obstacles for the attainment. So we have already learned many different things about meditation. Then people also ask, can we see the nimitta? Can we attain jhana? Then what will be? Right? The causes of not attaining jhana. There are many, many questions about it. So today we have to start talking about it. So the first one is the Kamma Varana, hindered by Kamma, such as mighty Kamma. So, okay, Kamma Varana. Kamma Varana is hindered by Kamma such as mighty Kamma. So, as we know that we have 5 mighty Kamma, right? Killing father, killing mother, killing an arahat, also shedding blood in the Buddha, also creating schism in the Sangha. These are called mighty Kamma. So if we have this kind of mighty Kamma, we cannot attain any jhana, any path and fruition knowledge. This is called Kamma Varana. I think many people have known this kind of things in our community. That's why we don't need to explain too much. Next one is the Kilesa Varana, hindered by defilements such as wrong view. So when we talk about wrong view, we call persistent wrong view. We call Nijita Miccha Ditti. So in this case, when we are going to learn that we must not have any wrong view like this. If we have a wrong view, we cannot attain anything. Here we have to understand one more thing about wrong view. Here, ahetuka ditti, for example, causeless view, right? Sometimes everything just arises naturally without any cause, without any reason. When we have this kind of view, this is called ahetuka ditti. So if we have this kind of mighty Kamma, we cannot attain any jhana, any path and fruition knowledge. This is called Kamma Varana. I think many people have known this kind of things in our community too much. Next one is the Kilesa Varana, hindered by defilements such as wrong view. So when we talk about wrong view, we call persistent wrong view. We call Nijita Miccha Ditti. So in this case, when we are going to learn that we must we must not have any wrong view like this. If we have a wrong view, we cannot attain anything. Here we have to understand one more about wrong view. Yeah, ahetuka ditti, for example, causeless view, right? Sometimes everything just arises naturally without any cause, without any reason. When we have this kind of view, this is called ahetuka ditti. We have akiriya ditti. That means although we do wholesome, it's not really. So kamavarana, kilisavarana, vibhagavarana. For our kilisavarana, if we can change, it's possible. For our kamavarana, vibhagavarana, we cannot change anymore. If we practice, it can be only 4 parami, perfections. We cannot get more than that. So now the next one is we have asada, faithless. So faithless means we don't have any confidence, or we don't have any faith in the teaching. We don't have faith in the Buddha and Buddha's quality, the Buddha's enlightenment. We don't have faith in noble hoods or noble disciples. So if we don't have this kind of faith, we cannot attain anything. So we have to check ourselves that whether we have faith or not. So this is, okay, for about the first kamavarana, the third vibhagavarana, we cannot change anymore because we have already done it. Kilisavarana, if we change, it's possible. Asata, we can change, it's possible. Then the next one, 5. So that means called achantika. That means unwilling. So sometimes we are not ready to accept the truth. We are unwilling to know the truth. In this case, we cannot attain anything. Especially here in this case, if we don't have right view, that means it can be mundane right view, it also can be supramundane right view. If we don't have right view like this, then we cannot attain anything. Especially our willingness must be, we must have willingness to know the truth, right? So, sorry. Okay, here, okay, sorry. Yeah, willingness means we must have willingness to know the truth, especially about Four Noble Truths. If we don't have this kind of willingness, we cannot attain anything. The Dopanya, okay, number 6, Dopanya. Dopanya is unwise or foolish. Okay, this one is actually Samadhi and Micchaditthi. So if we don't have right view, here we can say Lokiya Samadhi. That means mundane right view. Lokuttara Samadhi, supramundane right view. Lokiya Samadhi and Lokuttara Samadhi, right? Actually, it's not 7, it's only 6. I don't have 7. And this is mistakes. Okay? So actually, Dopanya, okay, 6, actually, number 7 include in number 6. Be careful, that one is not 2, right? So Dopanya includes, that means not knowing, Lokiya Samadhi, that means mundane right view, Lokuttara Samadhi, supramundane right view, these two. If we don't have these two, this is called Dopanya. Oh, this is, I think, some mistake in my typing maybe. Okay, so these are the quality, the conditions that we have. So these are the obstacles for attainment. For about faithless, we can change ourselves to be faithful. For our unwillingness, we can change ourselves to be willing. For about Dopanya, we have to practice to know the truth. Okay, about Samadhi, when we talk about Samadhi, that means we have to know the Four Noble Truths. When the Buddha talk about Samadhi in Mahasatipatthana Sutta. He mentioned the right view is knowing the noble truth of suffering, knowing the understanding the noble truth of the origin of suffering, the understanding the noble truth of the cessation of suffering, and understanding the noble truth of the path leading to the cessation of suffering. This is called Samadhi. So with insight knowledge, we can also know the Four Noble Truths. Especially, we have to know the first two Noble Truths as Vipassana practitioners. Then if we can know these two truths, then we all have Samadhi. So briefly, we can understand that. So these are the obstacles. If we have these obstacles, we cannot attain any path and fruition knowledge. We cannot attain any jhana. So we have to practice ourselves. We have to try to overcome all these things. If it's changeable, we have to change. For example, for about wrong view, if we are willing to listen to truth Dhamma, it's possible to change. If we approach to wise people or noble people, it's changeable. Similarly, for about faithless, if we approach to good persons, noble persons, or wise persons, we can also change our mind. For about unwillingness, dopanya also the same. So if we have very strong faith by listening to discourses, associating with wise people, good people, noble people, or faithful people, then if we have willingness by reflecting for sensual urgency, then if we can practice vipassana, understanding the noble truth, then we can also attain higher knowledge, like path and future knowledge. We can also attain jhana. So anyway, these are the parts. These are the end of the practice. We can say kasina practice, right? So we have already known that different kasina have different types of nimitta, different shape, different color. Now we have to proceed asubha, the next group, the repulsiveness meditation. So here we have to know many different things about asubhas. We can also find asubha meditations in Mahasatipatthana Sutta. They are mentioned only 9 channel grounds, but here we mention 10 types of corpses. Then if we check, we can see the same. Okay, now to Visuddhimagga 1, the bloated. The bloated means the corpse is bloated by gradual dilations and swelling after death. So maybe a few days after death, or 1 or 2 days after death, then the dead body will be swelling. It's like a, very, very fat people, although he was very, very thin before his death, he will be very fat, swelling. So this is a very, very beginning of dead body. That means after newly death, the body is not like that, right? After a few days, it will happen. 2 or 3 days after death, it will happen. But now in modern community, we cannot see this kind of dead body because they just keep it in the frozen room, right? With very cold room. That's why the dead body cannot spoil anymore. No bad smell. Anyway, at the time of the Buddha, we have amaka susana. Amaka susana means they just throw away the dead body there without coughing, without coloring, bury or burning, just throw it on the channel ground. That's why we can see this kind of dead body. But now we don't have. Anyway, now we have to proceed to, right? Vinilaka. Actually, Nilaka means black, mostly black. See, I mentioned with that livid, right? The livid means the corpse has patchy and patchy discolorations. Okay, in this case, I have to explain something about Vinilaka. Vinilaka means it can be many parts will be black. This is called Vinilaka. So, for example, if there's a parts in the body, that part will be, the body part will be white. If there's a flesh or muscles, that part can be red. But most of the parts are black. So when we have this kind of like a dead body, this is called Vinilaka. So this color already, almost explode, right? Many different colors already. But now in modern community, we cannot see this kind of dead body easily because that mostly we get like a fresh dead body, right? Okay, now we have to understand Vinilaka three color: white, red, and also black. Most of the parts are black. That's why it's called Vinilaka. Okay, now next one, Repulsiveness. Repulsiveness, right? Repulsiveness means festering, the festering. The festering means the cause is struggling with the parts and the broken places. So some skin will tear off, maybe for example in the mouth also ocean, right? Something in the mouth, ocean. Similarly, eye also ocean, something like that. This is called Repulsiveness. Yeah, pupa means like a parts. Football, you know, when we talk about 32 body parts, football, lohitan, sedo, made like this. Pupa means this means like parts, right? So although we say parts, it can be many other organs in the body. That's called Repulsiveness. So there are some parts, it's like a tear off the skin, some skin will tear off, there is organ, there can be like some, like eye will be, right? In the eyes also like there's a tear off, then it will be organ, the mouth organ, something like that. Nose also organ, all can be considered as Repulsiveness. So next one is a Wikitaka. Actually, Vichitaka, sorry, Chitaka. Chita means cut. Vichitaka means cutting. So the kata. The kata means the corpse has been opened up by cutting into chews. But although we say chew, it can be many others. So that means especially in the middle, right? Cut into chews. So anyway, this one is also one of the body parts. Here we say we mean many ways, like cut into two anyway. So here it has mentioned Drita Chirena, here only cut into two pieces. Mostly it can be from the middle, mostly. That's why it's called Vichitaka. Okay, now next one. Number 5. Vikayitaka. Number 5, Vikayitaka. So Vikayitaka is the gnawed. The gnawed means the corpse has been gnawed, chewed here and there in various ways by dogs, jackals, and other animals. Yeah, actually, you know, kaida means eaten up or gnaw or chews. So this kind of things is also really very difficult to find in modern society. But ancient time, at the time of the birth, is possible to see. But in the channel ground, they will throw away the dead body. Then some dogs will come and eat, jackals will come and eat, vulture will come and eat. Then they will cut the body into the pieces. So it's called Vikayitaka. You know, number 6, Vikitaka. Yeah, kitami actually throwing here and there. Kitami, keeping or putting or scattering, putting here and there is called Vikita. In English called the scattered. The scattered means the cause has been strewed here and there in this way. Here is hands, there is food, there is a head, and so forth. So that means it was scattering the body, different body parts, different pieces, right? It can be many pieces. This is called Vikitaka. This one also not very easy to see in modern society. If we have to see, we have to go to special place, right? Where they keep the dead body. This is called scattered. Okay, now number 7, we have another one, Hatha Vikitaka. Hacked and scattered. So the hacked and scattered means the corpse is hacked and scattered in the way mentioned above after it has been hacked with a knife in the cow's foot, pig's foot, patterns over every limbs. So that means there are many body parts cut into different pieces and scattered here and there. This is called Hatha Vikitaka. This is also not very common in modern society, right? We cannot see easily. But actually, sometimes we can also see some cutting pieces of the dead body. But now, okay, sometimes, you know, when someone is killed or assassinated, and they were cut into pieces, throw away many different places. We cannot see that the face anymore, right? And then we can also see Hatha Vikitaka, that kind of dead body. Then 8. Next one, 8. We call Lohitaka, the bleeding. The bleeding means the cause, sprinkles, scattered, and is smeared with trickling blood here and there. So actually, then there will be the dead body. When they pass away, there's this there will be bleeding somewhere, for example, like in the nose, eyes, mouth, hand, or something like that. Somewhere there can be blood. Not only that, sometimes, you know, after cutting the body parts, right, some part will be red because of the blood. You know, even the bone, in the bone there's a flesh, then there can be blood like this. So any kind of body parts smear with the blood can be considered as Lohitaka. So 9, Pulavaka, the one infested. So the one infested means the corpse sprinkles, worms, and full of maggots. So that kind of things can be found if we in the modern society, but not that easy to find. Like some disaster or some crisis happen, we can also see this kind of dead body. So, okay, this one is after a very long time keeping as a dead body, then there can be maggots. There can be many different types of worms in it. Okay, the last one is called Achika. 10, right? Achika. So Achika is called skeleton. Achika means that a single bones or frameworks of bones. This is called skeleton. So these are the practice, right? So we can also see, and it's very common. We can see skeleton. Even we have face skeleton, right? Even some hospital, they will keep skeleton. Even in powder, we have skeleton. In my good also have skeleton, but now I'm sent to Celine. The one in my good, the one I have is a not real one. This is a fake one, made in Thailand. But in we can see real one in Lower Monastery. This is a real skeleton of human being. So even a single bone can be considered as achika. This is also enough for meditation. So these are the 10 repulsive meditations. We can also say 10 dead body, dead objects. So in reality, we also have living asubha. Later, we will explain 32 body parts. This is also called living asubha. So sometimes we may have bloody, the bleeding in our body, some injury, that can be blood, right? So bleeding, the bleeding also this is called asubha. Then, for example, like see the teeth. This is also similar to the bone, you know? This is also called asubha. But now I don't think people will think teeth as a asubha, right? They will decorate many different things. They will see as beautiful. Then some swelling body, sometimes we have some injury or some bite by insect bite, then our body will swelling. Then this is also called asubha. So we also have living asubha, we also have dead asubha. Whatever asubha we practice, we can take only up to first jhana, not more than that. Then many people also ask me how to practice asubha meditations. Actually, we have systematic way to take objects. So we have to start the part how to learn the repulsive meditation. So here I have to list out in brief first. The meditator should know how to go there. This is the first part. Then we have to know how to get the nimitta, the sign in detail. And 11 ways of apprehending signs. So later I will list out all the 11s. Then reviewing the paths to go and then come back and attain jhana. We have these things. So these are the brief instructions to learn repulsive meditation. First, we have to know how to go there. Second, we have to know how to get the nimitta in detail. Right? These are the way. Okay, now we have to start with how to go there. So they are mentioned, don't go there without investigating whether or not there are dangerous animals such as jackals, dogs, tigers, and so on. First, we have to check the condition in that sort of that's on the ground in the cemetery. If dangerous animal, we should not go there. So sometimes if we know like a jackal or dogs, it's possible to chase out them with the sticks or stones, right? We have to bring sticks to chase out them. This is one thing. Then two, don't go there without knowing that it is the same sex or the opposite sex. Right? So when we are going to practice asubha meditations, we have to see the same sex. So the dead body is the opposite sex. If right, the cock will look beautiful. If it is recently dead, there can be attachment. Lustful mind is also dangerous for opposite sex. That is why we must go to the same sex for samatha practitioners. For vipassana practitioner, it will be different. Then three, before going there, the bhikkhu should inform it to the senior or fellow Dhamma friends. So it can be any fellow Dhamma friends. So Why we have to inform them, right? So if something happened, they can pay us. So cemetery, in the Chinese ground, there can be many, many different people. There are some people, they are doing some bad things in the cemetery. There are also some people, like for some thieves, bandits. Many people can live in the cemetery. This is also secluded area. So sometimes people also can misunderstand the bhikkhu, right? So, for example, they will see something, keep it in the cemetery. When seeing nearby in the bhikkhu, they can misunderstand bhikkhu is a thief. When they have this kind of, when this kind of case happen, then the senior can come and handle all the cases, settle all the cases. This is also really very important, right? So sometimes we don't have any senior, then we have only junior. We can inform to our junior or fellow Dhamma friends. Even some leaders is possible. They can come and settle. Oh, he just come from our monastery, just leave recently, right? Something like that. So this is one thing. If we have already request or informed the senior, it will be easier to settle many cases. This is also one thing. Okay, now next one, for you should go there alone. So actually, if we go there with the company also, it doesn't matter. It's possible. When we go alone, we must bring the sticks, walking sticks. In order that there can be dogs in the cemetery or some other creeper that can eat the dead body, we can chase them out or we can remove them. So if they don't disturb us, we don't need to do anything. Just go there and see dead body. If the dogs or jackals or any other animals trying to disturb us or trying to attack us, we have to chase them out with the walking stick. Then, okay, one more thing. Don't go there downwind. Let me keep in the corpse upwind. So the corpse is upwind, we are downwind. Then smell will come to our nose. Then we cannot take object very well. Then if we just go upwind of the upwind, also the keeping the dead body downwind, it will be easier to visualize or to get nimitta. If too smelly, we can also close our nose with anything, right? With the clothes or with the leaves or something like that. We can also go there by closing the nose, closing the mouth, right? Just opening the eyes is okay. The another one is number 6, right? No, number 5, sorry. So number 6. Is it like he should note the vegetations and landmarks in the area. So for example, when we are going to see the dead body, we have to remember the area or the environment. For example, the dead body is kept under a tree, for example, right? There can be roots. Okay, the dead body is nearby the roots like this. Then nearby the bush like this. For example, near the head, there's a root, and near the legs, there's a bushes. Near the arm, there is a stone, and hill, a Dhamma hill. We can also check, we can also see everything there nearby the dead body. So why do we have to do like this? For example, if we go there at night, it's very, very, very fearful, very dreadful. Then we may scare of the darkness. So when we see the dead body in our eyes, sometimes we may feel, oh, dead body is following us, following us. Then when that kind of things happen, we just review all the trees or landmarks around the area. Vegetations like roots, like a drying trees or grass or bushes or termites or anthill or termite hill, anything. We can see there. If we can visualize them, we can understand. As if all the vegetations nearby, the corpse cannot come out, cannot follow me. The corpse cannot follow me. Right? We can understand like that. So we have to see all these things. We have to check all these things. So sometimes, there are some people they have a lot of scarcity, a lot of like a scare. They are scared a lot. They scare a lot. If they have a lot of scary, then we should use this method. See all the things nearby. They understand, or they are just non-living things. Finish. We can overcome by fear. Okay, now we have the next group, how to get the signs. This is really, really very important. So the first part, we just mentioned how to go there, right? The second part, we mentioned 11 ways of taking the sign, getting the sign. So in the very beginning, I just said Sabhava do Upanlakkheti. He probably defined it by nature. So again, number one, Vanato, by color. So as we have mentioned in the dead body, the corpse, in the, for example, like a Visuddhimagga, right? It can be different color. For Udumadaka, it can like a swelling. It also can be different color, different body part, different color. We have to know the color. If we can know the color, then we can visualize color easily. Then linga do me by marks. That means, although we say the by marks, that means we must not consider anything about man or woman. When we are going to see the dead body, although we are going to see our same sex of the dead body, but we must not think about man or woman. We have to think about only the age, the first age, the second age, and so on. So if we, okay, so we have another thing like a, so that, for example, like a young boy passed away, we have to go and see there, right? Then he will be only the first age. So the middle age people will pass away, will go there, his middle age. We have to go and see like that. So this is the first age, here's the second age, this is the last age, or that age, something like that. This is called lingato. So that was it, Santana do, by shapes. So that means the shape of the head. So different people may have different shape of the head, so we have to see the shape of the head. Not only that, the shape of the neck, then the shape of the hands, body, and all other body parts. So we have to remember the shapes of the body, dead body. So we can also feel repulsiveness, right? Another one is Disato, by directions. So here when we talk about directions, we have to understand two different things. That one is, for example, like from the navel upwards and downwards. We have to understand two different things, right? This is called Disato. So not only that, when we are going to see the dead body, now we have to stand nearby that, not very far, neither too far, neither too close. You know, if too close, smell, then we smell. If too far, we're gonna see clearly. So as long as we can see clearly, it's okay. Don't go very close to the dead body. So that means we have to stand somewhere near the dead body. Then we have to see upper body parts and lower body parts, divided into two parts. From the navel, upper body, and also lower body parts. Then we have to remember that I stand here, or the corpse is here, right? That means he has to understand, he has to remember where he stands and where the corpse is. This is called disado, by directions. Then number 5, okasado, by location. So by location means such as where the corpse head is and where the hand of corpse is, something like that. So it will be very much in detail about seeing by the locations, right? As we have mentioned before, right? This one, for example, like a head is on the upper body parts, the top of the body, but the two hands are maybe inside the body, or maybe joined together on the body, something like that. Or maybe legs are straight, he will keep the leg straight. Then we have to see everything in its locations, exactly. So it will be different from disado, right? Number 5. Number 5 is a disado. That means where we stand, where's the dead body. But where okasado, that means where is the head of the dead body, where's the hand of dead body, and so forth. We have to capture all the things in detail. Then 6, parichedado, by delimitation. So by delimitation is such as 32 body parts. You may have known that, or have already known 32 body parts, right? It's more detailed, parichanado. So, for example, head on the top, body in the middle, foot in the ends. Then we will see every 32 body parts. Then any of them will be reposits. We have to see or feel any of the body parts as reposits. That's called parichedado. So these are the first 6. So when we are going to practice Asava meditations, in the very beginning, we have to use this 6 method first. So by using the first 6 ways, if we can see the counterpart signs, if we can see counterpart sign clearly, it's okay. We don't need to use the remaining 5. So one more thing about the nimitta here. So when we talk about kasina, the kasina nimitta is different, right? Different kasina have different objects. Now here, in the case of asubha, ukha nimitta is like a natural corpse. For example, we will see it with open eyes. When we close eyes and visualize, we can see it as we see in open eyes. That means nothing different, right? Although we close eye or open eyes, we can see the same object, the same dead body. It's called ukha nimitta. So first we should see it with open eyes, then close eye, visualize. If we can see the same, although we close eyes, this is called ukha nimitta. So actually, ukha nimitta is strong enough to continue practicing asubha. We must see. So then sometimes people also ask, how long should we see the dead body? Okay, the answer is as until we can absorb or we can see it with closed eyes. We can visualize it with closed eyes. We have to see it with open eyes, as we do in Kasina. So this is the first part we have to know, okay? Then, although we use these 6 ways, if we cannot see nimitta, we are, in this case, counterpart signs. We're going to say, learning sign also possible, Kokha nimitta also possible. Then we have to be in 5. We have to start with 7, right? By joints. So we have many different joints in the body. For example, in the shoulder, we have 1 joint. In the arms, also joints, right? And near the palm, also 1 joint. So 3 joints in 1 hand. Similarly, 3 joints in the legs. So we have to know all the joints. For example, in the neck, of 1 joint, we can turn our neck because of joints. So we can know, we have to see all the joints in the body. So, okay, if we summarize, there can be 3 joints in 1 hand, or 3 joints in 1 leg. Also, 1 joint in the neck, 1 joint in the hip. So we have to see all the joints of the dead body. That means more in detail, right? Then 8, we will draw by opening. So by opening means, such as, for example, like a space. For example, like a space between the legs, space between the hands. There's a space, right? This is also called vivara. There's also space between the body and hands, also body and then legs. Another one is like open eyes or open mouths. This is called vivara draw, opening. So this is also called vivara draw, by opening. Then again, nina draw by concavities. The concavities means we have different body parts, also different level, right? So for example, eye sockets is a little bit lower, right? It's lower than others. Similarly, mouth. If open the mouth, then it's inside the mouth is a little bit lower. Then also based on the neck is lower, right? So we have to see all the body parts. Here we get it by concavities. Now 10. Next one, chala draw, right? Chala draw means by convexity. So, okay, this one means, for example, in the dead body, when they're lying down, that we can see many different parts. For example, forehead is a little bit higher than other body parts. Eyebrow is higher than other body parts, right? So, similarly, chest will be a little bit higher than other body parts. Then knees also higher than other body parts, something like that. So it depends on the shape of the body. It can be different concavities, convexity, sorry. So we have to see different level of dead body, lower and higher, like different level. You can see all the things. Like then next one is samana draw all rounds, by all rounds. So that means we have to see everything around the dead body, right? As we have mentioned before, knowing everything here by very much in detail, everything in detail around the bodies. So this is called samana draw. Okay, these are the way to get the signs of Asubha. I have mentioned before, we have to use the first 6 methods, the first 6 ways. Although we use 6 ways, if we cannot see, we have to use the next 5 ways to see it. Then I have already mentioned about nimitta. The way we see nimitta in kasina and the way we see nimitta in asubha will be different, totally different. I have already mentioned about ukha nimitta. If we can see the dead body, close the eyes, as it is, this is called ukha nimitta, natural dead body. Then what about Patibhaka nimitta? Patibhaka nimitta, okay, what about Uttumataka? Now we are talking about Uttumataka, right? The first types of death body, Uttumataka. So Uttumataka death body, the nimitta will be like a fat man after eating fully, sleeping. So you can also imagine how it will look like. So if we can see like this, like the one who is sleeping, right? Sleeping after eating fully. So also his abdomen is also like heaving up, right? Heaving. Also he's also lying down. If we can see this kind of death body, this is called ukha nimitta. This is called Patibhaka nimitta. So as we have mentioned before, if we can see Patibhaka nimitta, we can also attain asset concentrations or absorption concentration. So it will be different. It will be like automatically will be like a fat man sleeping, right? So for about other asubha, for example, cutting into pieces, right? Then although it cut into the pieces, when we can see as asubha, like a Patibhaka nimitta, it can be like a full versions, full body structure, not cutting anymore. So for about the bone is okay. Even one single bones can be the object, right? Well, for our skeleton, it can be only skeleton, full skeleton, or only one single bone is okay. It doesn't matter. Anything is possible to use as asubha meditation. So, okay. So these are the ways to learn repulsiveness meditations. So, okay, one more thing here in modern community, we cannot get all types of dead body, the corpse. So we may have seen many pictures. Sometimes we have to use picture, photos. So there are some people, they dare not see the dead body, although they grow older and older. If we are scary, we cannot see the dead body, right? Then we cannot use this method. But Buddha also mentioned that we also mentioned many different methods in detail to see the dead body in order that we can overcome the fear or scary. So as we had mentioned in kasina, right? we have to learn how to make kasina objects. Now we also have to learn how to practice kasina of the asubha subject. Now one more thing. Although we visualize in the cemetery very well, when we come back, we are going to meditate, close the eyes. We're going to visualize dead body, what to do. Now we have to remember all the ways. Actually, in the very beginning I mentioned, we have to remember all the ways to go there and go back. If we can remember the way, for example, like there will be landmarks. For example, okay, we were, I think many people have been to Paudoya, right? We have many trees between upper monastery and cemetery. Similarly, lower monastery to cemetery, there are many trees. We can remember all the trees, all the villages, all the graveyards. After that, when we go, we have to remember everything. After seeing the dead body, we have to remember all the things on the way back. So although we are going to meditate, if we cannot visualize well, then we have to review all the ways we go there and we come back, how we see the dead body. If we can review everything, that dead body will reappear, we can visualize it, we can keep practicing. So if we cannot see anymore, we can go and see the dead body practically. But now not that easy to see dead body, right? Anyway, if we can practice well, there can be improvements. We can also attain up to the first jhana. So as we have mentioned before, there must be parikama nimitta when we see it open eyes. After that, after closed eye, if we can see it as it is, it will be ukha nimitta. If we can see the dead body sleeping, a fat man sleeping, eating, after eating fully, this is called Patipaka nimitta. This is the nimitta of asava meditation. Then we can see Patipaka nimitta. If we can focus on it very well, we can attain the jhana, only the first jhana, with 5 jhana factors. So one more thing, it is actually repulsiveness meditation. Why piti arises? Why happiness arises? Like a scavenger. When you see very big heaps of rubbish, you will feel happy because he can earn a lot of money, right? Similarly, although we see repulsives, there can be happiness because we have attained jhana. This is very beneficial for us. So where there's a happiness, there can be tranquility, rapture, joy, also very strong concentrations. Okay, so the asava also can be the foundations of vipassana. Any jhana, any samsara subjects can be the foundations of vipassana. Okay, today I will stop here. May you all be able to practice the Buddha's teaching, and may you all be able to realize the end of suffering, nibbana. Okay. So
for the first question, Seado, after finishing the samadhi practice, usually how long would it take for a meditator to practice vipassana till the end of part out syllables? Example, 1 round.
Okay. Actually, I cannot say exactly. There are many other blockages. For example, according to our respected Bande, Leon Gisiaro, he said, there are 3 difficulties in Paudoya. The first one is a nimitta. It's very difficult to see nimitta. It takes very long time to see nimitta for some people. Second one is Patisambhidamagga, to see the past lives. Very difficult to do. The third one is attaining path and fruition knowledge. Very difficult to do, right? That one is very clear already. So although we can practice samatha very smoothly, although we have good conditions, if we are not very skillful in discerning nama rupas, we may encounter difficulty when discerning paticca. It depends on how difficult, how clearly you can discern everything. If there's some blockage or some difficulties, it will take longer and longer. For example, even for divine origination, paticca, there are some meditators, although they take 1 year, sometimes maybe few months, sometimes only few days for some meditators, even to see the past lives. This is really, really very difficult. So that's why I cannot say exactly. If everything is smooth, maybe nearly 1 year. With maybe around 1 year, you can experience, you can also practice 1 round. Okay, next one.
Sayadaw, if we have done mastery in all 4 jhanas based on Anapanasati, do we still have to practice mastery of other types of jhana, such as Kasina jhana, etc.?
Okay. So we have different objects already. For example, Anapana Nimitta. You can make Anapana Nimitta for 1 hour, 2 hours, 3 hours. It doesn't matter. This is Anapana Nimitta, right? When we go to practice Kasina, it's another Nimitta already. We must practice mastery again. Okay? Next one.
Can we practice brown Kasina instead of black Kasina?
Okay, brown and black. Black is stronger, right? Brown is not so strong. Actually, taking hair as objects. We Asian people have black hair, So it should be black, right? Black is a stronger color, is better. Okay, next one.
How does a meditator know if he has mastered psychic power in his past lives? Will he also have those abilities in his present life?
Okay, so that it depends on many other situations. I have already said the obstacle. In the past, you may have psychic power, but in this very life, if you have very heavy offense or, right, also like a mentality wrong view, very persistent wrong view, then it's impossible to see, to attain psychic power. So for about psychic power, actually, if we can practice different originations, maybe some power will be possible to see, right? The next one, 2.
Some people may have abilities like seeing others' past life without practicing Kasina jhana or psychic power in this life. Could it be due to their past lives practice, or maybe due to some support from unseen beings?
Okay, it will be really very, very complicated, For example, we have some people, we can say karmic power, karmic force, karmic power. We call karma upagajiti. Because they are past karma, they have this kind of power, right? For example, like we can say, okay, Jadisara Jnana, Jadisara Jnana means, okay, we have one story about Chatanda Jataka, Chatanda Jataka. Chatanda Jataka, for example, like the elephant, she elephant passed away, but she remember her past lives. And she got revenge on the Chatanda elephant. So like this, sometimes because of our aspirations, we can also, because we have done very great karma in the past, we also have already made aspiration to see our past lives or other people's past lives. It's possible because of karma, This is one thing. What about unseen being? It depends on situation. I cannot say exactly. This one, okay.
Sayadaw mentioned making gold by yellow kasina. Will this created gold exist permanently or only temporarily?
Okay, so I think it can be maybe, for example, in the case of one of the Mahatera, he make, one of the hay, right? Hay as gold ornaments. So in this story, actually, the girl can use the ornaments in the festival, and it can remain forever also, right? For about another case, like he also creates Kim Bimbisara's palace as a gold, after he withdraw all everything, right? So I think it also can be for permanently, it also can be temporarily. It depends on their determination. Okay?
Sayadaw, is it possible for us to get the sign and absorption just by looking at photos or drawings when we have not yet witnessed a dead body in person?
Okay. For about photos, I think it's possible, right? Photos, now we have like movie, for example, like video, like for example, like body words, like body words, like that kind of video. Also sometimes anatomy, some videos, the center commentaries. So by using all these things, we can also see dead body. We can also practice asubha meditation. It's possible.
Okay, my name is Seattle. Just now Seattle mentioned that Venerable Ananda, when he before he entered into Parinibbana, he used fire kasina in order to burn the body. So that wouldn't he feel pain during the process?
Okay, so clearly, this only determination. After passing away on the sky, right? He's on the sky, he passed away. He entered Nibbana. After that, he just determined to burn his body for this, right? Kasina. He's already dead body already. He cannot feel pain. It's dead body, right? Because the power of the psychic power, by his psychic power, after passing away, is burned naturally. That means he can limit the time, That's why it doesn't matter. This is not pain. Next one.
Manami Siado. Tupanya, just now mentioned about the Tupanya doesn't means doesn't know doesn't have loka samadhi and lokutra samadhi. That means doesn't understand about Four Noble Truth. So we would like to ask Tupanya, the viti, the chitta viti that's involved Tupanya, would it consider Jnana Sambayutta or Jnana Vipayutta?
Actually, Drupanya means Jnana Vipayutta, This is very clear already. Okay. Next one.
Mandami Siado, this question is regarding Bhavanga mind and Bhavanga mind door. So these two are different, right? Vipaka mind is Vipaka Chitta, one of the Vipaka Chitta. And Vipaka, this Bhavanga mind door is actually means the Hatayawatu, right? When someone says the Bhavanga is bright, does that mean the Chittaja Rupa or produced by the Vipaka Chitta or the 63 color of the Hadayawatu, which is correct?
Okay, so that means if we say brightness, right, it can be the color of all the rupas in the heart base, produced by minds. So they also have ruling temperature, also can be all types of rupas in the heart. It's like it produces the light, because of the power of the mind. Anyway, in this case, don't analyze too much. When we talk about Bhavanga mind zone, is Bhavanga the brightness of the mind zone. That is enough. Don't think about many other unnecessary things, right? In the samatha subjects. When you are practicing vipassana, you should do it. You should analyze everything. Okay? Now next one.
The Deva, after the Deva attains Anagami, can they immediately go to the Sutawasa? And for Deva, when they attain Arahantship, can they directly enter into Parinibbana? So first these two questions.
Okay. So I have to check. I have to go back to maybe Visuddhimagga Sangha again. In the Devarang, whether we can have Arhat or not, right? So in this case, the divine beings, when they attain Anagami, they cannot enjoy sensual pleasure, but they can also still enter into fruition attainment there, although they don't enjoy sensual pleasure. It's okay, right? So this is also a little bit strange to me. That kind of idea is a little bit strange to me. Although I have to shift, so I have to consider that one. I have to check in the Visuddhimagga Sangha again. How we have to, wait, how is it? Living beings and okay.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, next one.
Next question. For Buddha, before the Buddha Parinibbana, when he entered into Parinibbana, what is his Kati Nimitta?
No Kati Nimitta, because Buddha didn't pass away. Buddha, in Parinibbana, no Kati Nimitta, right? Because Parinibbana already, I have also no Kati Nimitta, no more new life, no Kati Nimitta. Okay, then
The fourth question. For infants, 胎儿的意识产生设法。The baby, the infant in the womb, would they produce Chittaja Rupa? And this Chittaja Rupa, is it only the breath?
In the mother one, you mean?
Yeah, in mother womb.
In the mother one,
would
no,
the
in the
baby
mother one,
produce?
no breathe in, right? In the mother one, okay, there can be Chitta Rupa, sure. Right? So next one.
When Nami Siado, 行者在修八因舍。When a meditator practice the eight jhana, he felt that the he felt that the Patavi Apo Tejo Vayo, Nila, Pita, Lohita, Otata, that's produced the Arupa jhana are similar out of these 8 kasina. Is that allowable? Is that acceptable?
Okay, Arupa jhana are the same, but different base, right? Different foundations. Okay, then?
So it is acceptable, right?
Acceptable, okay.
Okay.
Next one.
Sayadaw, when I meditate, I feel sleepy. Can the Sayadaw please teach me how to overcome sleepiness when meditating?
Okay, so actually now, partly I have already talked about Venerable Mahamoggallana, right? So there are many ways to overcome drowsiness. The first one is like, for example, like a reciting something, right? Mentally reciting in the very beginning, something like a stanza or Buddha Saranakachami, something like that. If you cannot overcome it, you can recite verbally. If you meditate alone, if in group, you cannot do like this. Another means you can wash your face, then you can overcome drowsiness. So another one is like a walking meditation. When you do walking, then you're gonna feel drowsy. This is one thing, right? So one more thing, if you don't have enough sleeping at night or the whole day, as soon as you close eye, you may feel drowsy. This is normal. In this case, no solutions for normal people. Okay, next one.
Sayadaw, what is the answer to the previous question 4? Looking at the photo can attain absorption or not? I think Sayadaw have answered this already.
In this, okay. Actually, it's possible. Okay, it's possible to see, to attain. Okay.
Venerable Sayadaw, when we do dana ceremonies, we have the option to dana everything by ourselves or to invite many people to help and dana with us. It is often said inviting many people to join our dana will make more merits. Some people even use other people's name for their dana to give good credit or name to others and let others who want merit to dana those items for them. On the other hand, it is said making donation by hand is more meritorious. Which is superior in terms of merits and dana parami here?
Okay, so in this case, we have to think about other people's situation also, right? For example, we can invite other people, but they cannot feel happy. Then, actually, not that much beneficial for them. This is one thing. Although we invite very few people or very few people come, that if they can rejoice, sure, they can get benefit from our donations. So anyway, here in the case of dana, it depends on how they rejoice or how they feel happy with your dana. It depends on rejoicing. They may have merit. That's why we cannot say inviting people is good or bad. It depends on the people who attend to your ceremony. Okay, this is one thing. Another thing is often with our own hands. Okay, you can do. This is a good, sure. But it depends on skill. Parami does not come from hand or come from activities, come from mind. So if we have good wish for the receivers, for example, when we offer the robes, we just think that, oh, the receiver can use our robes, our clothes. For example, in the winter, you can offer blankets. It's really useful for the receiver, right? So the main thing is, it depends on your mind, how much you have kindness to our receivers, how much you have loving kindness to our receivers, how much you have compassion to our receivers. It depends on all the situation. We can say great and weak merit. Okay? Only hand cannot help you. Mind can help you. Okay?
May the Vietnamese translator Bante take this question?
Yes. Con xin lấy ngài xe đó. Vietnamese xe đó xin ngài dạy chúng con về sự kiện tương lai. May xe đó explain to us in the future. So in the time of the Buddha Sasana is no more. So at that time, the Buddha relics, will gather in the Buddha Gaya, become like a real Buddha. And also the Buddha statue will give the Dhamma Talk for 7 days. And after that, it vanish. So is that recorded in the Tipitaka? And because I heard some
we can find in commentary. Yes, we can find some information in the commentary. We can find, okay. Actually, if you can read Pali, you can read in the Anguttara Nikaya commentary, book 1. Okay. The next one.
Sayadaw, when I meditate, it's hard to focus on the breath without having any thoughts. Can the Sayadaw explain how to concentrate well on the breath without having any thoughts?
Actually, don't complain about the thoughts too much. So sometimes your breath and mind become very harmonious. At the time, no thoughts. Before that kind of thing happens, you may have thoughts. This is normal. Everybody have thoughts. So try to be skillful more, right? You must learn how to focus on the breath naturally, how to keep your breath natural, or how to make your mind calm and quiet. When your mind becomes busy, there will be thoughts. When objects become unnatural, there will be thoughts. When you have a lot of struggling, there will be thoughts. That's why you have to balance all the situations. There are no more thoughts. Okay. Briefly, make your breath natural. Make your mind calm. Balance your efforts. As long as you can know the breathing, don't struggle anymore. Just keep knowing it. Although you have thoughts, don't complain it. It will be possible. Okay. Idawadaja amehi sambadam punya sambadam sabbe deva numodandu sabbe buddha numodandu sabbe satta numodandu sabba sambati siddhiya idame nyatinam hodu sukhita hondu nyadayo 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 idam me punyam asawekaya waham hodu idam me punyam Nibbanasa Bhajayo Hodu Mama Punya Bhagam Savasadanam Bhajemi Te Sabe Me Samam Punya Bhagam Lavandu Sadhu Sadhu Sadhu